Alright, we got paired. Playing. Let's go with d4. Vinet Nayak. From India. Quite high bullet rating. This is 15 plus 10. Alright, so let's go with the knight f3. Maybe we'll go open Sicilian. It's a doom. It's a doom though. Knight c6. Whatever. Let's chop in. It's not a good idea here, but I mean, of course, this is a perfectly fine opening. Just it will invite some big troubles here for me because I don't know the theory so well. All right, this is the move not sure I've ever played both moves. I played this. I used to play e6 lines, but I guess I've somehow stumbled in the combination of this on black side of this. All right, so if I go knight c3, there's the pin variation. Is that too greedy to try to get the Maroxy here? Knight c3. How about knight b5, d6, bishop here? I don't know. Let's go here, knight c3. See where this leads us. Knight b5 now. d6, bishop f4 hits that. e5 here would be a transposition into a Sveshnikov, right? Which is I think maybe the best line or the best way to get to the Sveshnikov on the black side. I think, because you avoid some of the early knight d5 lines. Of course, the downside of this move order is that you're not guaranteed to get black side. This is not at all forced from white. So here, and even though this loses a tempo compared to the normal bishop g5 instantly, while black also plays e6, e5 and loses tempo, so we do transpose into the normal lines. I don't think there's... I'm not sure, but as far as I remember, there's no real... Oh, I don't know. I was gonna say there's probably no real ways to avoid this. How would you avoid d6 falling without e5? And you can play d5, but then a lot of chops will happen. d5 takes, knight takes. Yeah, then there's the fork in the end. Do I need the fork even? Probably. Alright, so this here. Now we are in a6, knight here. b5, chop, or knight there. We're in the normal Sveshnikov. Black has made a huge hole here. Downside, white has a knight on a3, which will take ages to get into the game. Usually you either take or go here. I recently saw a game where white went knight b1, which of course looks ridiculous. But it has been played. I remember looking at it. It has been played. It's the good part about it, I think, is that... Well, first of all, the knight is kind of... Well, usually you play knight here, play c3, knight here, which is okay, of course. We are always looking at that square. But this does free the a pawn quite fast. So we could go there. b5 is not winning the pawn as long as the knight is pinned here. All right. Knight e7. All right. That's a bit of a mystery to me. We could chop on f6 now. He's not really threatening to be b4. I mean, he is, but we can then take on f6 if we need to and not lose the pawn. I could go to d5 anyways, but then he might be able to take. And I don't think I can take with the queen because it takes. I'll take. I mean, that's probably fine. Except maybe knight here. It's this, and my bishop is hanging. And I don't want to take with the e-pawn and fix it. Problems on here. Like, this is the downside of Sveshnikov, is that big hole, backwards pawn, open, well, semi-open file. If I have to like go there, takes, I block the d file. And then he has the huge majority on this side. Not sure. Would takes here work? Suppose I could also take, yeah, take either way. Like bishop takes, knight takes. We're trading that. He moves, I assume he has to move the knight somewhere. Cover this. I guess he could even take here. Cover that, hit my bishop. Even though I'm not 100% sure he can actually let me take there. Well, like attack the knight, he takes, I'll take. King has to go here. Some kind of horrible discovery. Here. Looks a little sus though. Because, or bang, bang, bang. He can move the knight somewhere and defend here. And Alright, so he is covering d5, so if I take, well, I can't jump there. He can take, I'll take with the queen, hit the rook, he moves the rook, and he's maybe coming here. So a4, b4, chop. a4, b4, chop. Very good chop there, chops there, chop there, he chops there. Whatever, man. a4. That's the, well, it's one idea if we go here instantly. There. We open this bishop here. It's well defended. Is the pawn gonna be ever vulnerable here? Question mark. Is there a, well, of course we can also maybe go here anyways. Let this go, but then my bishop is hanging, so I have no time to take here. I don't know, I'll take here, whatever, man. He can take here, I'll take here. He can take here, I'll take here, he can take here. I lose a lot of stuff, so I don't know, maybe at this point I should move the rook here. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know, I should have probably thought this through, considering it's kind of forced variation too, before taking. Hindsight. That's lazy. If I take here and they take there, okay, he's going for the main, most principled continuation. He does have a check here too, which is a bit disturbing. After takes, I mean. So if I take here, he takes there. I'll go here. He gives me a check. I know we play something. He takes there. Doesn't look too great. Doesn't look too great. Of course I cannot, I have to, like, this is only a pawn, this is a bishop hanging, he already got the piece back. I think I have to do this. Otherwise I'm a piece down. If he takes here, now I'm up a piece. So if he takes here, he's not up a piece. I can take the queen. He takes here, he's up an exchange because he gets my rook and this gets a new queen. So this kind of a pawn takes a rook promotes to a queen is sometimes 14-point swing, or maybe 13 since you lose a pawn. But yeah, pawn takes a rook. I guess pawn takes queen. Another queen might be the highest swing. 7 plus 17 points. You get a new queen. Opponent loses a queen. You lose a pawn. So, but I wanna somehow like calculate at this point though. I'll take. Do I have any funny business there? I can't take here. The knight is hanging, so we can't go anywhere bothersome. I feel like I have to move the rook now. This is not good. Could have gone there, but I don't see how that... I mean, maybe some swinging on the third rank, but then this b2 lives, and... So now I'm pawn down, basically. It's gonna be even if I win this pawn back, but then my pawns on the queen side are split like a crazy. They'll end up with the bishop pair. Yeah, this was a catastrophe for sure. Positionally, I think. Material-wise, we might be okay, question mark. Alright, yeah, that's an annoying check. We can block. Technically, we could block with the knight too. But I can't block it in any forceful way. That would give me a tempo. I mean, queen block is the most forceful, forcing the trade. But then I'm in a endgame versus a bishop pair. It kind of split pawns on here and there. Of course, they do still have that backwards d-pawn. That might be something, and like we could sneak the knight there, maybe in some meaningful manner. I don't know. I'm not super feeling this, but let's go to an endgame. Because otherwise I have a hard time like actually getting the pawn back without losing the a pawn. This we could take either way. But I'm not sure I want my knight here. I think I want my knight on c3. Oh, that's probably fine. Starting to think, yeah. Of course, my king is not super safe in the center because those bishops are gonna be splitting skulls soon. I don't know. There's a check probably here. And then it's hard to come up with a safe square for the king. Don't want to go here and block my bishop and also go to a potential checks. Yeah, might have to go back, which of course sucks a little bit. Would it still be smarter to take with the knight? Just so I get my stupid king into castle, even though technically it's getting closer to the end game and you wanna maybe stay in the center, but opponent has a bishop pair and there's very little shelter. So I'll take, they'll check or take. This is pretty forced. Do I have time to play like a slow move like bishop d3 first? I do have time. It's nowhere. I guess he can defend rook b8 then. Keeps the pawn. Because I definitely want my king on this side of that bishop. Would be safe on e2, for instance. e2 does block the d file, or the bishop here blocks the d file though. And my only play the open, semi-open d file and the backwards pawn here. Ay, ay, ay. So, knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes. I get my knight into a little scummy square. Did not want to do this. Did not want to do this. But I couldn't find a good square for the king after check. Like not looking great for an open c. Oh. Well, that we have to take. Not sure that really bothered me. I'm maybe getting my knight back to where I wanted it to be anyways. Question, do we want our b file? I should take it now if we want it. We also take away this square from the bishop, which might be unpleasant in a way that it hits this and maybe gets him to play d5 instantly. Prevents this. I guess the question would be bishop d7. We are different a pawn. I'll play knight here. Then the knight is kind of stuck covering these. Or knight c3, rook b8, or bishop b7. Bishop d3. I'm not sure I'm really threatening to go there. I don't know. This is somehow quite unpleasant. Bishop c4, rook b8, knight c3, bishop b7, somebody there. I can't leave this hanging here. Guess we could castle then. I don't know. This feels awkward, but I'm gonna do it anyways. This feels really awkward. Like I'm not developing anything. This, well, guess it was not the best on a2 anyways, so it's kind of developing a rook. But also kind of undeveloping, yeah, instantly being an bit of an unpleasant surprise. I mean, I can move here, I suppose, but then he could always go harassed here. It's harder to defend on a5. Not that this is a very stable setup either. Good part is that if he moves the rook, we can always chop here. But this is definitely going the wrong way around. Well, while black seems a little annoyingly well coordinated. I'm uncoordinated like crazy here. And also I guess this is fine, but like these guys are weak. And they are maybe weaker than those guys. Both sides have problems with the pawns. They have the bishop pair, which is gonna be a big problem here on the open part. Like I should have paid attention. Not well, sorry, I have jumped too far, but like I should have taken this b4 jump more serious, because also it was like the only move anyway, so. Ay. Bishop there. The good part is that he's hitting everything that is already defended. I'll just play bishop c4. It is very risky too. Maybe I want to support somebody jumping to d5. But risky, I mean, I put undefended pieces in a row on a half-open file. Of course, there's a block at the moment which can't really take anywhere without me getting one of my pieces away from the file here, but it is risky, very risky. Rook c8 I can maybe take here, hit the rook and get away. d5 we can always take, and this is not getting anywhere. So I think I'm getting away with this, but you'll have to be really careful with this. And he could make some unexpected move somewhere, and long term this could be a problem. But yeah, I need my king. Still not sure I'm gonna castle or actually bring the king somewhere in. Because I could need the king to defend something here. Yeah, I'm happy about this though. I'm really happy about this. Because at least it keeps their rook honest here. If he moves the pawn forward, then we get a nice square there for somebody. Maybe even the rook. Not sure which one I'm gonna actually move to d5 at some point if I can. What happens if he castles though? Should I castle? Or move the king to e2? That's the question, I think. Castles. Or I mean, okay, he can't really move here without losing the f pawn. But okay, he has the same downside of that. If he castles, his king is gonna be quite far away from the endgame. Same as me. Like if I castle, I get the rook into play. I guess I get the rook into play. We both have the same problem. Same problems. Different head. Problems remain the same. Alright, so bishop there. That's gonna be a problem if it lands there. I think I should stick my somebody there. We could also stick the bishop there in a way that he goes there. I'll take here with check. This is gonna be also a check and winning everything back in equal strength. So technically he can meet this with this. But at this moment I could also just defend my knight, so he cannot play bishop here. I don't have to take here. That's enough. Even though if he moves there, I'll move to defend my knight. He could go here, hit my bishop, and skewer the knight anyways. It's actually kind of disgusting. I'll go here, take. But of course after this he could also move something else like rook here, because I'm no longer here. But this I have to somehow address. Running out of time, money, ideas. So bad down here. I mean, knight there is fine, but it's not really threatening anything. Also, it hangs this freaking pawn here. That's a big downside. Look everywhere. I don't know, I'll go here. Maybe this happens. I don't know, maybe I'll move the king away from future here. This is also possible. Expect this. I guess he could move the king too? Question mark. I do get here with check. King c6. Okay, he goes there. That makes sense. I can also move the king instantly. Does he have a nice bishop retreat somewhere? Because we always take back and the knight's not hanging. I guess he could go... Ooh, that's actually kind of disgusting. Should I castle? So my king's not like actually in a check if the a4 drops. But yeah, this is gonna be a problem in the end. Looking at everybody and their moms. I have to take with the knight. Nobody's defended. I can't come back. I can't go here because of the pin to defend my knight. Oh, shoot. Yeah, this is stronger than I thought. For sure. Okay, I don't know. I want my king out of the way. Feels vulnerable. We are far away from the end game, but what can you do? At least if he takes there, we get a really strong knight on d5. Even though it's technically it's a bit dominated by the bishop. Not untrue. I shed some pawns like crazy. So here. I mean, I don't know, maybe I should defend the f pawn though. Okay, he goes there. Alright, now we have time to actually defend one of them. Does it matter? Now this is also no longer a check. So this might be a threat. Because I don't get away from there with check. I have no time either. Fudge. Just gonna remove that there. That was a bit panicky. That's still a problem. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe f3. Just keep this one. This is gonna be a problem at some point in the game. And I'm not sure what's my actual compensation, except knight. Strong knight, which might not be very strong because of the bishop here. I guess the problem with him is that the bishop dominates my knight, but also blocks the rook. I have a 10-second increment, so me being down to 1 minute is, well, it's bad, but I can maybe live. Should we do f3? I don't see a better way to defend it. This has the downside of this getting weakish too. So I have to be careful at some point, like bring the rook here and not plundering the fork here, which is covered by the bishop now, but just to keep that in mind for the future. You put your rook on the dark squares. Be careful. So, question. Well, now I'm gonna wish my king was actually in the center somewhere to defend the c-pawn. So I could, like after this, I could go swinging around. Swingy. Oh, I don't know. I'll go to the b file anyways. Maybe I'll bring my king there. Now. How bad would I have been actually if I just moved the king e2? If it goes there, I'll play f3 anyways. I think that would have been better. Castles was definitely hindsight stupid, like I mentioned it earlier. But somehow the bishop pair scared me, even though there it was not a problem. Alright, that's a luft and maybe f5. Maybe f5. Alright, I don't know. I'll swing the rook in. Maybe we'll defend the c-pawn with the c3 or I don't know, something. He has to be a little careful with f5 here. Because it's not unheard of I could double the rooks on 7th and go to town here. But this might be like trying to activate this rook very fast. He goes there. He's looking at this square question mark. But that is covered. Well, I'm not gonna go here though. I'm just gonna... I think I'll double my freaking rooks on the 7th. Also, we are hitting this pawn, which is not bad. If rook here, maybe c3. Hold on to my pawn. Even though I could take and take if it takes there. Wonder whose rooks are gonna be faster and better. Maybe c3. Oof. My knight is nice. I'm not sure I mind that because the bishop is getting out of dodge. I mean, if it goes there, I don't know. Maybe I'll take. Maybe I'll let the bishop leave. But like if here I could... Oh, yep. Fine. I'll go here about... Line up this, and this rook is like, well, maybe it goes to a5, but then I just go for this, yeah. It should stay there. Black also has some big problems here at some point, tactically. Because now the bishop is covering this fork here too. We can't go for this anymore. Which I'm not sure it was ever a real threat anyways, but... On the other hand, am I really threatening anything horrible? This rook is not in the attack, so if he tries to run the a-pawn, get me there, and then swing the other rook to b file, I can probably take f7. Alright, h5, make some room for the king. I don't know what else it does. Could move away from the dark squares. I could maybe try to like play here and here. I guess g3, h4, king h2. I don't know, let's play g3. I don't know, it's a bit murky. But maybe I'll want to play h4. Maybe he has to address that. f4, maybe option 2. He has some big problems if I do f4, right? Chop, bishop here, takes, fork. I win a piece. So the bishop has some problem staying here guarding this. So I think he has to actually like move one of these guys away from the fork. But the king has no good squares because, okay, he plundered the fork here. That's good. Full rook. But I was gonna say that even the Kier cannot get out of the fork. He resigned. Let's look at the game. So instead of this, well, the rook first of all has no good squares. White is already much better here. I kind of started to assume that. But this is what I was thinking. Get away from the fork. Give this guy some room. So if I do h4 now, he can maybe go here or here. I don't know. Even maybe here. Not that it's the best score in the world anyways. But this is now really stuck here because this comes with check. And if I h4, maybe I could have played f4. And you can't go here because I'll take and they go here. Okay, that's only an exchange with some like actual added problems that is here. You might get some, and black was already a pawn up, so it's not so obvious. Could I play take here, go here? This is one of my favorite moves in the world though. King f6, e7, maybe here. Like you go to the wrong side of the pawn and then you drop back. And of course there. Yeah, it doesn't really work. Like this is my favorite move. I collect these moves whenever I find them in the games. I'm not sure this is the best example of it, but like looks ridiculous that you let the pawn go through, but then you swing back. Because often you don't want to end up in the back rank. Here it's probably also fine because my pawns are ridiculous and there's some stuff going here though, but yeah. But yeah, of course you have to be always wary of this move. You have to be able to address this, and the king can't deal with this usually. So you have to another piece to deal with this often. Here you could go there. I mean, this is still probably okay. Here is losing. Not good. So it's not so great, probably like takes, and suddenly white's up a pawn. But of course I should not hang a piece there. Just looking at, could I? Probably not. I don't know. The problem here is that I'm losing a lot of pawns and now this is hanging too. And this could be an annoying pin too. I mean, we are barely... Okay, we stop the pawn here or... Because there it's... I mean, I actually probably should take this and then swing under this one. Yeah, that's probably the best. Alright, what's Mr. Machine says for black to do here? King g7, get out of the fork. And then best for white is knight c7, threatening this mega fork here. And then the best is to just get out of the fork. Now did block this. White should get here. Also the other one was to give a check here first and then get out of the fork. Isn't this a problem now? Hitting the bishop and the pawn. Bishop here. I guess losing that pawn is not gonna be the end of the case here. This might be the end of the day though. 97. It's the rook and checkmate. And you can't go here to cover the checkmate. Cool beans. Alright, let's look at the opening. Because I think I messed up the... I mean, to be honest, I didn't really know this at all. I saw this in a game, but I didn't really look at too deeply into it. Like usually you just play here or think the bishop takes is the other main line, yeah. And then you take with the g pawn, and this is the... Does this Sveshnikov? Okay, the lead just doesn't show the... That's in gold, this the Chelyabinsk variation, whatever. Something. But yeah, this is the other main line. Bang. Oh, c3. But what I was talking earlier about this, that I said that this is the best way to go to the Sveshnikov. Well, maybe not the best, but like it avoids some annoying lines compared to if you play the main line here. d6. There is this complete nonsense Caruana-Carlsen match. If you look at the database, you avoid these lines completely. Where this happens, because those are not possible here in this move order where you go from there. Oh yeah, it went knight here first, knight f6. Of course, black could avoid the Sveshnikov here, and I could do something else. Well, I guess I could go knight b5 instantly too. This is probably not good. Okay, computer says it's equal, but it looks like a little too fast version for the black of this Maroczy bind. Just looking at the main line on the database here. Yeah, I'm not sure. I might have actually been here a few times on both colors though. Bang, yeah, no time to play that d5 here. This has been played sometimes. Kiri, Chikaev, Bakro, Demchenko, Branov. It frees the a pawn. Sometimes it can be an asset. He played knight e7, which was complete novelty to me. Apparently it has been played few times. Most players play here and then this, and a4, which is now possible with the knight b1, b4 here, and this is no longer attacked. And then I don't know. Are we gonna follow with c3? Let's see, castles, bishop c4, bishop bishop g5, castles, king h8, c3, rook b8, c takes, knight takes, rook takes, b3. Alright, I don't know if that's any better than the main line. It's little different, but kind of similar too. Yeah, this was a blunder. a4 now. Because I didn't bother calculating this all the way through. Yeah, this ends in a bad one. Apparently check was bad and he should have just taken. And if I take, then maybe the check is gonna be better. Or bishop here first, bishop d3, then check. If I block, then you win a pawn. Ooh. And if I can't take my pawn back, then I don't know. Later it might become even impossible. Like you can always play rook b8 and just say thank you for the pawn. Yeah, this actually would have been best for the white. Save the check for the rainy day when I have no a pawn defended anymore. I guess there is an option of playing c3 here, which is defended, and then you defend the pawn. Computer says no, and just castles, and white's position is kind of crap. I agree, white's position is kind of crap. There's like zero coordination with these idiots here. They're kind of hanging on, but it just looks like a mess. Not that, well, this is keeping things together here, and maybe it can... It's a long-term bishop. Long-term bishop pair. Yeah, g6. I guess he's gonna go for f5 and rip things open. And yeah, we still have some coordination issues. I'm just looking at tension line. Doesn't go instantly there. No. Okay, c8 improvements first. g3. I guess he doesn't even go f5 now. I mean, now you definitely can't anymore with the rook. Not here anymore. I don't know. Yeah, it's even going into possible checks in the future too. But yeah, it's just a white is uncoordinated mess. I mean, technically you're kind of holding to everything, but you don't want to play like this. Alright, let's look at the game. Chop there, chop there. Computer wants to take with the king. I was kind of afraid of this. I'll take here. Check. And this was the question. Where to stick my king? Computer says rook d1, but here I felt like I'm blocking the rook from ever getting somewhere meaningful. Castles, bishop d3. I guess it's tempi, tempi, tempi. King goes there next. Rook here. Then we can maybe take and be fine. Yeah. So we have this going for ourselves, that the bishop is here. This I did not want to block. Rook fc8. Knight d2. g6. And then I get my rook into the play. Okay, this is actually kind of... I'm not showing white is better or anything, but at least now we are coordinated and our pieces like work in a harmony. King is relatively safe here. And it's also kind of close to the action when your pieces get chopped off. As black king, I mean, I guess black's also kind of like maybe actually the second best move from the computer's list is like just bring the king here. It's gonna be kind of nice and safe on the dark square, covering the d6 maybe. Except there is checks though. They have to address somehow. Yeah, this would have been better the way I played it. It's not. Because the knight is not really going here. It wants to go here, I think. Alright, this is the second best move from black. Yeah, here the question is that if I don't take this a p file, they will take the p file. Bishop c4 is right. King e2. Get out of the pin. If they pin you, you jump. Apparently you do jump now this way. Yeah. Hit both. Fine. Bishop d5 here. So here takes king e7, king e2. There, I can't go there. Same thing. Yeah. This is all fine. It's fine. Fine. F3 is fine. Computer wants to play rook E1. I lose a pawn, but we have the B file and the knight. G6, rook there, bishop there, everything is fine. I not that I could say that I was super confident I'd be better here, but I was thought that I have enough counterplay, the rooks coming there and there. Yeah, I have time to play this, which is good. This, H5, G3. I know this comes a problem, they should have addressed that, but they kind of forgot, and bang, game over. Surprisingly high accuracy game. I made one mistake in the game, A4. Yeah, 95%. Rest of my moves were kind of fine. Of course, you can't trust the computer evolution here too much, but I've obviously made micro mistakes here and there, but like here I was plus 0.6, and then somehow we played some inaccuracies here. Here's, for instance, King E2 was better, like mentioned. Or even knight here now. Somehow white's better. Yeah, so I think I made mistakes even though computer says I didn't do anything. I don't understand how bad the inaccuracy has to be an inaccuracy if the jump from 0.6 to 0.2 to 0 is not enough to trigger the inaccuracy. I guess mistake is when you go from 0.3 plus to -1 almost, or a 1 point of advantage gone, and enough to get a question mark. So take this with a grain of salt. Okay, I agree, this was a bad move based on a lazy calculation, and by lazy I mean not really looking at through, like you kind of figure it like how bad can it be that I'm taking pieces, hitting a queen. But the problem is that, yeah, here my opponent is taking threatening to actually get the queen back. Yeah, like I said, this is a pawn takes rook queen is a 13-point swing in material, and I don't think we are even close to having any compensation here. Yeah, competence is -3. All right, thanks for watching. Sorry about yapping too long again in the end. Until next time, ciao ciao.